Hello everyone, we are here once again with another live stream on Nasdaq futures, and today we had the PPI number releasing at 8:30, so we have around 1 minute and a half to the opening bell at 9:30, and I would like to jump directly to have some overview of the market in 15-minute chart. What we had, as you can see, yesterday was CPI day and I didn't have any position on, so we had a very nice run higher into the daily CB on yesterday's trading, and after that the market started going lower in the PM session. Over here you can see the very nice reaction from the new week opening gap for current week as well as the new opening gap. Over here now the interesting points to me are this sell side liquidity are paired from with the news candle at 8:30. So now we have this buy side liquidity also purged, and we just fell short of touching the new day opening gap. We are in this inefficiency over here of 15 minutes, and we drop into the 1 minute chart for having a detail of this. This is a 15-minute BC. Okay, here we have the opening bell, and to me for the first 30 minutes I'm expecting to see a little run lower since we have cleared the buy side liquidity above these relative equal highs over here. But once again the market is trying to reach to the new day opening gap for today, and let's see if we can reach over there. I also want to highlight the closing price at 414, that is here. This is the closing price of yesterday's settlement, and you can see the opening price of 9:30 over here. If we put the gradient levels, we have it like this, and the first and lower quadrant we tapped into the consequent encouragement of the opening range gap over here. So far we don't have any first presented fair value gap formed, and I'm waiting for this first presented for fair value gap to form for today. Then I will utilize that as an opportunity for entering in a position. Going to the 5-minute chart to have an overview over here. Now we are trading inside this 5-minute CB that is right below the new day opening gap, and we have these relative equal highs in the 5-minute chart that is very smooth and interesting to me. Okay, this can be also the first or no. Well, still we don't have any first presented fair value gap formed. We jumped into the lower quadrant of the opening range gap, and Now we are inside this BC candle of the candle at 9:30 opening bell. Three-minute passed and the market is trading in this area right below the opening new day opening gap. Try to reach for the first presented fair value gap of Tuesday but failed and now started going higher. Once again tapped into the consequent encouragement of the opening range gap. Okay, still we don't have any first presented fair value gap. I'm waiting for the market to see how this candle is closing. It has the potential to create the first presented fair value gap if we can close above the 50% of open range gap. Once again, after touching the consequent encouragement, we are coming back to this 1 minute BC at 9:30. We are in a consolidation over here, right above the buy side liquidity, and once again we try to reach the opening price at 9:30. This can be outside because it's a small one, or we can see it. Well, we have a kind of gyration between the lower half and the midpoint of the opening range gap. So far we cleared both buy side and sell side liquidity that had formed after 9:30, after 9 o'clock New York local time, and we have a big inefficiency in 15-minute chart over here. That is type of BC. and still we don't have any first presented fair value gap formed. To me, this level over here can be very interesting as a sell side. So you can see this is a relative equal lows and very smooth area that even the candle at 8:30 news couldn't fix this. And let's go back to the market over here. I'm expecting to see this buy side liquidity attacked and get attacked, and after that they try to reach to this sell side liquidity that I highlighted below. Well, apparently this candle has the potential to create the first present fair value gap. So far we have to wait and no rush for getting into any position. The midpoint of the new day opening gap for today has been traded, as well as the upper quadrant of the opening range gap. Well, 20 seconds to closure of this candle and forming the first presented fair value gap. As you can see, I would like to highlight it like this and put this. And we have the first presented fair value gap formed over here. Well, now I set my position for going long right above the first presented fair value gap for today. That is type of BC, and I am waiting for the market to trade lower and fill it. Over here I got filled in this position, and my stop loss and target is set at 20 and 40 handles respectively. If we can get a close above this area over here, that is the first presented fair value gap of yesterday's or Tuesday's PM session, I will trail my stop loss to break even and covering the expenses. You can see the fill price at 21,862 and a quarter. once again trading into the upper quadrant of the ORG and now at the top of the new day opening gap. Okay, now we are getting close to the settlement price of yesterday's trading session. Trading inside the new day opening gap and spending in my taste a little too long for this new day opening gap. I'm expecting to see a closure above this first presented fair value gap of the PM session from Tuesday, and the next candle probably hitting the settlement price of yesterday's trading. Well, still the bodies of the candles are respecting the new day opening gap and that first presented fair value gap from PM session. And we have traded once again into the top of the first presented fair value gap for today. Well, so far this new day opening gap for today is acting as a resistance and doesn't allow the market to travel higher. We are in kind of small consolidation price range, and I think they are doing this for accumulation of the smart money because we are getting closer to the macro time window that is between 9:50 and 10:10. So they are kind of keeping the move for that 20-minute time window, and they will deliver this buy side liquidity more probably than the sell side. Well, now we traded above the first presented fair value gap, and still we don't have any closure above that to trail the stop loss. After hitting the upper quadrant, we started going higher, and yeah, now we see the market is starting almost the move. 8 seconds to the macro time window between 9:50 and 10:10. And okay, since we closed above this, I'm trailing up the stop to cover my fees and expenses. Now I don't care about the result of this trade anymore. Once again tapped into the upper quadrant. Apparently this is a kind of tough market condition for trading, and it's not showing any interest for going into any direction, but it's not a problem because now we are safe and I placed the stop loss there. So if even we get out of the position, there's nothing to worry about. I will wait for another chance to get in a position. Once again tapped, traded into the low of the new day opening gap and below the first upper quadrant of the open range gap. So we can see how the market is behaving over here. We have this big down close candle over here, as you can see, and I'm looking at this candle and waiting to see how it can keep the price around it. Well, this is the pertinent levels, and you can see so far we respected the lower quadrant and the body of the candle stayed above it. We traded above the new day opening gap, and now we are inside the first presented fair value gap of Tuesday's PM session. You can see the bodies of these candles are respecting the lower half, and we just traded into the lower quadrant in this candle at 9:51. After that we had a kind of reaction higher, so this is a good sign for us. I remove it because it's not necessary over here to have that level, but I'm placing the mouse on that level almost over there, and let's see how the candles over here are painting. There is also a small volume imbalance over here that I'm watching how the market is using this volume imbalance and the reaction of the market with this small volume imbalance over here. Okay, we got out of the position over here by stopping out in profit. You can see at 865 we got out of the position, and to me it's still bullish because we have this high over here, but I don't like to act emotionally and enter to position. I'm waiting for the market to see if it can utilize this first presented fair value gap as an inversion by any chance and exploring this sell side liquidity at 21,711. So now, so far, the bodies of the candles are respecting this first presented fair value gap, and just waiting to see how the market is using it. We don't have any sign for inversion over here, so to me it's still this buy side liquidity is in play. This can be used just as a drop for utilizing and getting filled position over here to send the price higher. Going to the 5-minute chart, we don't have any inefficiency after opening bell. Jumping again to 1-minute chart, and yes. So far spending a little bit time over here, and I'm not interested in getting in any position at this moment, just waiting for the market to show us a little insight for getting into any position, because we don't have any idea for the market which side it's going to deliver, either upside or downside. Both of them are probable, but to me it's more likely to deliver the buy side liquidity first, and after that I'd like to see a run lower to me. But The market can surprise everyone always, and there's no rush for getting into any position. So far, we didn't lose anything, and we had around, yeah, you can say around $55 profit. So it's not that bad. Now I'm looking at this first presented fair value gap, and just note the bodies respecting the lower half over here. So we have a little bit closure, but it's permissible. Also, we have this other first presented fair value gap, and this is interesting that the candles are respecting also that one, and we see a kind of nice run higher over here in the price, trying jumping into this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, and I'd like to see the market can trade above it and use it as a discount, then start going higher for reaching this buy side liquidity. So far, I'm not interested in getting in a position. I need to see at least a good closure above the or below the first presented fair value gap. So far, the market is not moving that big, and you can see it's respecting also this 1 minute fair value gap. That is a type of CB, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, and we traded once again into the midpoint or consequent encouragement. While the candles are very indecisive and the market doesn't show a very clean move over here. We're having around the 40 handle run from the opening bell at 9:30 and still trading inside this first presented fair value gap after spending a lot of time over here. Well, it didn't show very any willingness to go and exploring higher, and instead rejected from touching the high of the opening range gap and started going lower. And now over here you can see the market is showing some big movements lower after touching the consequent encouragement of this 1 minute CB, and we just closed below the first presented fair value gap. Now I would like to see if they can utilize this first presented fair value gap as an inversion. Now we are respecting the consequent encouragement over here. Let's wait a little more. We have a close right below the midpoint of this inefficiency, but still we cannot say it's a definite point for entering short. And once again we try to reach to this 1 minute CP. Well, we have a volume imbalance over here as well as this one, and now exploring lower prices. We kind of respected the lower quadrant of this first presented fair value gap over here. Now once again tapped into the consequent encroachment of this 1 minute Fiji. We have around 10 seconds to closure of this candle, and I'm watching to see the reaction to this volume imbalance over here. Well, we started going higher as I expected, just this is the reason I was telling I'm not interested in going any short over here, even if the candles are respecting the first presented fair value gaps midpoint. And that's the reason. You see, we just cleared the settlement price or opening range gaps high over here, and the next objective is this buy side liquidity and 21,912. There is a chance to use this 1 minute fair value gap as a inversion. I would like to put a position over here and aim for this. Let's see if we can get a feel over here. To me now this inversion, this fair value gap is an inversion. Look at this volume imbalance on top of the open range gap over here at 21,891.5. I want to measure this distance, and yeah, we have this around the 50% level. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Well, we can see this 5-minute chart is respecting the opening range gaps high, and this is the first fair value gap on the 5-minute chart over here. Going back to 3-minute chart. And 1-minute chart. Okay. You can see the market is now trading around this opening price and spending some time over here. I believe that those individuals or people coming into long position over here are kind of settling their trade over here and getting off the trade, or the smart money is accumulating once again over here for another leg higher, the same range minimum to this one. But my strategy tells me to wait for this inversion and wait for this, because we have over here this breaker block and we have this inversion, so this can be a very sweet spot for entering for long. Now we started clearing above these highs over here, and after that we have these 3-4 candles low that created the relative equal lows in lower time frames. Now just we have around 10-12 handle to reach the objective of the buy side liquidity, as I mentioned in the beginning of the live stream. So I don't think the market is coming down at this time to fill our position. It's not a problem. We have a small inefficiency over here that can deal us maybe around 10-20 handles if the market trades over here. But now the market is trying to reach higher, and 1 2 3 over here we are hitting the we just fell short of hitting the buy side liquidity. Let's see it once again. The market is trying, and no, we have this high. Okay, right now we hit the buy side over here, and you see the first objective has been delivered from the first presented fair value gap, as I said in the beginning of the live stream. Now if we go back in time for yesterday's PM session, we can see we have this new day opening gap for Wednesday, as well as the first presented fair value gaps that are sitting right above each other for yesterday's trading. Well, I see over here an opportunity for entering to a long position because we have this inefficiency over here, and okay, we have this 1 minute fair value gap resting over here. I would like to see a run towards this new day opening gap. It's a kind of a high risk position getting into long over here after all this leg, but I believe since yesterday we traded very sharply lower, we have this big inefficiency over here, and the market has the potential to run towards this uh, midpoint at least of this big range, and fortunately failing my target over here. This is the reason I got long over here for this position instead of going short, because in my opinion the business is not done by trading above this buy side liquidity, and we can have another delivery more upside over here. And I just set the target for 40 handles also. You can see the buy position price at 21,914, right above the buy side liquidity. Well, now once again trying to get back into this 1 minute inefficiency. Also, I need to add the reason for entering long is these candles over here are all respecting the midpoint. Even though we had a close over here, immediately we traded above it, and we kind of respected the midpoint of this inefficiency in 1 minute chart. So this was a kind of confirmation for me to put the position above the volume imbalance high over here, and expecting a run higher towards this new day opening gaps. Once again, we traded inside the fair value gap over here, and let's see how the market is behaving over here. It is likely to hit my stop since it's very close to the open range gaps high, but I have no problem with it. Well, we had a very nice closure over here, and let me write the type of inefficiency over here. This is a 1 minute PC. Well, now we cleared both the buy side liquidity above these relative equal highs, as well as the sell side liquidity resting below these relative equal lows, and now I'm expecting a run higher to see the market, because this run was just to remove the individuals for going high over here, and also kicking the individuals off who are expecting to go higher by breakout, then they get down, and those individuals putting their stops below these relative equal lows, they hit them and kick them out of the long position, and they accumulated over here for going long. This is the kind of analogy in my trade over here for this. So there is nothing wrong so far. I'm expecting a run higher. And if we go and measure the high and low of the opening range over here, we have this high to low, and use the projection levels of -5 and -1. I would like to see, alright, we have the 50% of projection over here and the 100 projection over here of the opening range, highs and lows. So I place my target as this price at 21,962 and just waiting for the market. If we have this as 75, let's see. Okay, it's around here. I'd like to kind of have it 43. And this can go to 0.5. We have a small imbalance also over here, that if you notice, we have to also include the volume imbalance and respecting the bodies to the midpoint of this inefficiency. Now it's 10:30 and just 10:31, waiting for any kind of movement over here in this price action. We're still trading inside this range, and in order to have the things, okay, we can deliver minimum to this level over here, so I will reduce my target to this level. Well, we are spending too much time over here in the price, and I think if we see kind of big green candles over here, we can reach higher prices. Otherwise, I don't see any reason for staying in this position. It's already 10:34 and spending too much time above this buy side liquidity that I highlighted from beginning of the market. Well, this kind of movement over here is not very favorable to me. For this reason, I am making a position risk-free, and I don't care if I get a stop out at this point. It's taking too much time over here for my taste. Okay, we got stopped out over here in profit without any problem. So I'm just getting aside and not willing to do anything special, except if I see any run lower below this and have a closure below this low, so we can have a kind of attack to this sell side liquidity that I highlighted. Otherwise, the market can gyrate like this forever, and I'm not very interested. Note that we have these highs over here that each of them not taking each other. Only this high took the first high. I still didn't take out this one over here. Well, apparently it was a kind of immature move to trade my stop there, because now the market started going high and getting close to the 50% of the opening range gap high and low. It's actually opening range, not opening range gap. So here you see, after the market kicked me out, it started going higher. This is not a big deal, it's okay. Sometimes impatience, sometimes saves you, but sometimes like this makes you kind of lose the opportunity. And I don't want to chase the market at this point over here. To me now is very expensive for getting into any high buy position. Going to the 5-minute chart. Okay, going back to 1 minute and see. And you can see, if we get into this inefficiency over here, we have another chance. I'm talking about this one right here. Look here that we just fell short of touching this 75%, and the market is just playing around it. This is kind of requiring a lot of patience. We just hit the level over here. This is at 44. And yeah, that level is delivered. We have a small imbalance over here that you can utilize it for a small scalp towards this 962. It's giving us around 20 handles. Not the volume imbalance over here. Well, if I want to rate this market condition of today, it is a very difficult market condition as we are trading in range bound a lot of time and just having spikes. Again, another trading range and spike, and again trading range and maybe another spike. This is a very difficult condition in the market that requires a lot of patience, experience, and experience actually helps you to be successful in this market. Maybe if I wasn't trailing my stop very soon and immediately over here, it's true I didn't lose anything with one handle profit, that is nothing, but still I could get the target of this 75% projection. If we go back to 5-minute charts, this inefficiency over here is respected several times. So for a very small scalp, something like 15 to 20 handles, you can use this inefficiency and targeting for 15 to 20 handles profit. But I'm not interested in that for now, and I'm just waiting for the market to show me some kind of reversing after delivering to this 1 minute and 1 level projection of the high to the low of the opening range between 9:30 to 10 o'clock. we're having still respecting from this inefficiency. This one over here is institutional intraday order flow, but this one is the inefficiency that is keeping the price from going lower. You can see the closure of this candle's body at the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap, this type of PC. Now getting close to hit the low of the new day opening gap for yesterday's new day opening gap. You can see the drop to this inefficiency once again at 1050 and the rejection of the price over here. Now I'm measuring this weeks and looking at the consequent encroachment of the wick, how the price is reacting to that. The bodies of the candles are important to me. It's important to close below this inefficiency and using this as an inversion. We had a closure below this 1 minute fair value gap and expecting this to send the price lower, but I'm not entering now. Or maybe if I see any good movement for this candle also, I will decide to get into the position, but so far no, because we have this inefficiency over here and it's possible for the market to come to reach here and after that trying to go to the north. Now you can see the market is kind of having a problem going lower. Trading into this 1 minute fair value gap, and let's see if it's acting as an inversion. I need to see a close of this candle below this after hitting into it and expecting to act it as an inversion. Okay, this candle closed below the fair value gap. I can consider this as an inversion over here. Now I am waiting for this one to see how it utilizes this fair value gap over here. We closed a little bit above the consequent encouragement of this inversion, but it's possible for the price to send it higher. That's why I'm not rushing to get into any short. I'm demanding some more information. We do have a kind of small breaker over here with these candles. Now let's see how this candle closes. It's closing above the breaker, so it doesn't respect the upper half of the breaker, and it closed also outside of it. I'm entering for a short over here at this candle and placing my target for here. I'm utilizing this as an inversion over here because this we cannot say it's not respecting the breaker block over here. The next candle started going lower and is acceptable. Well, very perfect entry point over here at 937 and a quarter. Looking at this volume imbalance, once again we got into this breaker block. We are trading inside this order block and let's see how the market is acting over here. Respecting the breaker, I'm talking about this down green candle over here. And this is the mistake I did, adding to losing position, and over here, yes, the thing I told you about this inefficiency actually panned out. They send it over here and then immediately going higher. So this was a very difficult loss, and yeah, with this I would like to close this live stream, and till talk to you another time. Take care and have a safe trading.